All right, we're back. It's 2022. Haven't done a whole lot of videos for Adri or the channel this year. Ignore the unsponsored name dropped. So what we're working on now is long overdue, but we're building a hay barn for all the animals so that when we buy the round bales in whole stock, we don't have to worry about the rain and the mold. So this is what we're working on now. This is going to be the largest project I've built so far. Can't do a standard framing like I did the horse barn. This one, the span between the poles and the post barn is going to be about 30 to 32 feet. I could order the trusses, but it's a little bit more expensive, so I'm trying to build them myself. I've also got 6x6 16-foot treated posts, and those are the largest, heaviest posts I've ever purchased also. That's going to be a fun project setting those up. And Charlie's helping. So this is the progress we've made so far today. Not a whole lot of ground, but at least we did go ahead and mark that out. Already used the auger, dig out the holes. It was also my first chance to get to use the auger, and that works beautifully. It saves me tons of time, tons of energy. And then tomorrow, we'll come back and put the post up.
I told Ben to film. I have no idea if he is. Basically like a carport, but he didn't.
Not a carport,
he
it's a hay barn.
Didn't like the way carports looked.
All right.
So.
Oh yes, no, that's fair. You're right. I did not like the way that metal.
So instead, he's building a wooden hay barn. Just to keep our round bales that cost a fortune dry. Come on, kitty, kitty.
All right, real quick video and then getting back to work. So I'm up on the ladder with the saw. It's the part Adri hates the most. I've already marked off all the posts for the hay barn, and I've used a laser level to line them all up, make sure I got the same height. They're all about 14, 15 feet off the ground. And so I'm cutting off the posts just so they're all at the level height. I gotta finish this quickly because Adri doesn't like me being up on the ladder with the chainsaw for good reason. So the top of the posts are all cut and leveled off. So now what we're doing is I've got to figure out a way to one man lift 6x6x16 treated posts. So this is the idea I've come up with is I'm going to screw it in 2x6 blocks on each side of the post. And what I'll do, I'll lift the 6x6x16 onto one side, lift on the other side, add additional blocks higher, lift it, add additional blocks, lift it. It's going to be a pretty patient process. All right, let's see. That should work. Out here putting up the beams for the hay barn. And Adrian made a good point is I need to be doing more videos. 6x6 by 16 foot post. And then we got 6x16 foot beams. And so this video is showing people if you have to do it alone, which I don't recommend, this is how you can lift the beams up using one person. A little more tedious, takes a little more time, requires more patience, but this is how it's done. And so this is where Adri does the time-lapse button. All right, sorry. So that took a minute. So at the very top, if you can see here, there are a couple of different ways you can do it to create the point where they sit on top of the post. For this barn, what I'm doing is called a lap joint. You get both beams sitting on top of each other. You get a good amount of overlap on both of those beams. And then what I'm doing is I'm drilling a hole through the two beams into the post with an 8-inch, half-inch screw. So that's holding it together. All right, so now this will be the last 6x6 beam I've got to put up. And so that's why you've always got to be extra careful when you're doing that. And if you ever drop it, never try to grab it because they're super heavy. And unfortunately, that's the first time it's happened. got it. Now I just gotta put the braces on, drill the holes, cut it to length, and we move on to phase 2. Got all the beams up. The next phase will be marking out the spacing for our rafter hangers.
This is a terrible idea. But if we're being honest, I've said it before about his ideas, and sometimes they've worked. Not quite tall enough. Andy almost died. So, this new attachment broke right off.
All right, beginning of June, Adri is 9 months pregnant. And so 2 weeks is the expected due date, but in any event, so she's inside resting, trying to finish the hay barn, or I was actually, the goal was to try to finish the hay barn before the baby was due, but that's not gonna work out. But this is what I'm working on today. So a buddy of mine is an electrician and has a bucket truck, so I borrowed it because I couldn't find any other way to try to get the trusses up on the beams of the hay barn. And so what I'm doing is I'm gonna fix the first two, attach them both together, try to lift it up with the bucket truck, place it on the beam, affix it to the beam, and then just go truss by truss all the way down. And hopefully it'll work out that way. I've already dropped one, broke it, but I can fix it. We'll set that one aside for right now.
He says that this first set of trusses was the hardest and that all the rest should be easier.
So, day one of the bucket truck. There we go, a little more peaceful. You can see I'm about 20 feet off the ground. And I've been using the bucket truck to lift the hay barn trusses up off the ground. And I've got 7 up so far. In order to keep some temporary support for the trusses, I've got these beams going down the center. And then I've got 2x4s and 2x6s on both sides of the trusses. Hanging them up, nailing them into the truss hangers, then putting up the 2x4, 2x6s for the temporary bracing, then putting up the center pieces for the temporary bracing. I've got 6 left, but it's exhausting because it's still summer and it's super hot. And I mean, I'm taking breaks every hour and a half, 2 hours or so, getting water, getting electrolytes, but it's just hot. It's 6 o'clock now, so that's my cutoff time. So I gotta quit. So I gotta come in, clean up, spend some quality time with Adri. Back up on the hay barn. Got all the trusses up. I've gotten all the purlins, the rough cut lumber up that I've got with me right now. And they're super heavy when they're fresh cut because they got all the moisture in them. Because this is all repurposed sheet metal, it's cheaper. It's also got that that rust patina look. You can't buy new, you have to use old sheet metal. But what I learned from the horse barn is because it's repurposed and it's old, you've got all these old nail holes. But in the horse barn, what it ended up doing was putting up all the sheet metal, completing the roof first, and then going back and just using an exterior grade caulk sealant to patch up the holes. As big as it is, the hay barn being as big as it is and as high off the ground, 30 feet off the ground right now, it's easier to just go ahead and do it now. As I'm fixing the roofs to the purlins, I'm gonna go ahead and just use my exterior grade caulk and sealant and patching all the small minor holes. Caulking this side, and then I'll switch to the other side and I'll get as many boards as I can up for the rest of the day, and that'll cover the hay that we've got. And it's good timing too, because the rain is supposed to come early this week.
So I am editing this video and asked Ben where the final reveal clip was, and he didn't make one yet. He told me to go do it. I thought maybe he would want to like, ta-da, I'm finished, but no, he's leaving that to me. He's finished. I think it looks fantastic. It's massive. Clearly we have one round bale under right now. And he was probably right about not putting a carport of this size over here, because I think, and you can't tell right now, but like with the kind of rustic old tin roof and the wood, it looks really nice. It blends in more out here. And with it being this big, I think that that's a huge advantage. What? Especially because like the front porch of the house is right there, and so looking out you see this, and it's a lot more aesthetically pleasing in this style. If you guys remember, or if you don't, you should go back and watch the video where he built the horse barn, which is down there. It was incredible, and when he said he was going to do it, I did. I totally doubted him. He is a lawyer. He's not a carpenter. He's not a farmer, but he's becoming all these things now. He puts his mind to it and makes it happen. It doesn't matter how long it takes or how much work or how many mistakes. I think it's incredible. It's a beautiful barn. Thank you for sitting through this whole video. I know for a lot of people on this channel, this isn't really what you signed up for, but I think that his efforts to make this a better place for the animals absolutely deserve showcasing, and other people who are interested in building these kinds of things may be finding this video. Welcome to the channel if you did. But if you have been here for a while, thank you for watching and supporting Ben's efforts around here.